Hello and welcome to the kickoff panel of Too Many Games 2024 in beautiful Oaks, PA. My name is Pat Contri. We're going to have a fun hour, I hope, of entertainment, Q&A. I'll let you know what's going on with my projects. How we doing out there? Good? Oh, that's weak. Come on, we can do better than that. How we doing? There it is. Makes it sound like there's more people out there for those watching live. My name is Pat. Is there anyone out there who doesn't know who I am? Did you get lost and randomly just saunter in here and sit down? If you don't know who I am or what I do, one of like the first wave of YouTubers. I've been on YouTube since June of 2008, 16 years. Started doing Pat the NES Punk videos. The sort of, I guess you can say, comedic videos reviewing old Nintendo games. Then I expanded out and started doing Flea Market Madness, which just celebrated 15-year anniversary the other day. No applause, no one's seen that. One of the first, if not the first, video game hunting show. I think it's the first one that was regular, but some people argue with me. I think it is. I'm gonna brag, it was the first. And then video game years, I helped produce that. Okay, 90s are not coming back, but I'm glad you're enthusiastic about it. And then I've done certain guidebooks for the NES, SNES, and soon to be N64. It's a trilogy, which we'll talk about in a few. And then what else have I done? Not for Resale documentary, I helped produce that. I'm on Twitch. So yeah, that's what I got going on. So if there's anyone who's turned off, feel free to leave. If not, we're gonna have a fun hour. So what's been going on in my life? I don't know if we can do the computer thing, if we can switch over. We're looking at my flash cart right now, I believe. That's for the Play the Punk Challenge later. Okay, so you'll see in a second, Ultimate Nintendo Guide to the N64 Library is going to come out. The target is September, and it's going to review all the games in the North American, Japanese, and European library, all the games. All the European exclusives, all the Japanese exclusives, all the 64 disk drive games. Anyone here not heard of the disk drive before? It was basically an expansion console that used discs. And it flopped. It was an utter disaster. But there are some cool things they try to do, like online communication tools and sending emails and things like that. And there was only 10 titles released. Oh, there it is. That's the book. Give it up for the cover. All right. Can I get you to clap for anything? Give it up for Drake's Cakes and Devil Dogs. There were past panels that I'm a big, we don't have Drake's Cakes out in the West Coast, so people would bring Drake's Cakes to the panel. I'd be throwing out Devil Dogs to the crowd. So if anyone has Drake's Cakes on them, I will eat them all. But all right, so that's the book. I'll go through some page samples. Oh, I'll show you the special edition cover. That's the special edition cover. So that there's a lot less of those that are going to be made than the regular ones. So that's a sort of a chrome finish, the same way I did for the first two books I'm doing for that. You want to see some page samples? Walk you through some page samples? All right. Why not? That's why you're here, right? These are semi-final pages. How do I make this full screen? Is that full screen? There we go. This is actually the first review in the book, 1080 Snowboarding. This is a good example of a review page with the title. You have the North American cartridge front and center. Obviously, if it's an exclusive to Europe or Japan, it would be that cartridge. And then you see the variants below. The European one, the Japanese, and here's the player's choice, the million seller one. So that's the big difference between this and the first two books, is that the first two books, there was 2 reviews per page. And in this book, there's 1 review per page because the library is about half the size. So the good news is that means you can write more, but then you can have more screenshots and you can show the cartridge variants. The other books don't have cartridge variants on the review page. So you have genre, release date, the region, developer, publisher, number of players, the features like how the game saves, like on the game pack or on memory card, or memory pack as I called it, controller pack, a rumble pack, the availability, and then the star rating from half star to 5 stars. There are no bombs on the N64. There are no games that are unplayable. Superman comes close, but that's not a bomb. But it comes as close as you can to a bomb. You have screenshots. Most games will have 8 screenshots, including the title screen for each game. You have a review of around roughly 350 to 400 words, and a reflection section like the past books that has more of the backstory of the game or more anecdotes from the reviewer about their experience playing it, history, cultural impact, things of that nature. So there you go. That's your standard page there. Here's Army Men, Sergeants, Heroes 2 with the color card, and here's the gray variant to give you an example. A good old Buck Bumble. Any fans of Buck Bumble out there? No? All right, well, it got 3 stars, which is above average. Densha de Go 64. So this is an example of a, did I hear a clap for Densha de Go? Anyone? No? Okay, I thought I heard a clap. So this is an example of a Japanese exclusive that did not release here. So this has the translation of the title, Let's Go by Train 64, which is sort of the translation. And then here's the controller you can buy separately. Not many reviews have like a controller illustration, but some do. Here's Donkey Kong 64. Nice yellow cartridge. The Australian cartridge was also yellow. Learn some things when you do these books. And then in terms of all the European variants, it's not a totally exhaustive for every single game. Because some had minor between like the UK and France and Scandinavia, but this is most of the variants for every game. Like these are like the main variants. And believe it or not, before this book, there was no source online that listed all these variants and also like told you like what they looked like. It did not exist. We looked. And there was nothing like that. There wasn't like one source that laid it all out easily like that I could see. And especially for the image sources as well. So all these images were redone by an artist to match as close as possible to each other for the different regions. So I could probably say that I now, I don't want to say own, because I don't own the art, but we put together the most complete N64 cartridge label set that exists in the world, probably in digital form. I can say that with good confidence, because if not, we would have found it. Here's another Japanese exclusive, Getter Love. It's like a dating sim game. Good old Hey You Pikachu. Required the VRU. The only game that required the VRU. It was optional on Densha de Go. Anyone have Hey You Pikachu out there? 5, 6, 7, 8 people? You enjoyed it? What's that? The mic sucks. What's interesting about that is that the VRUs or VRS in Japan, they're not cross-compatible because they're for each language. So you cannot use the Japanese VRU with the US game. It wouldn't work because it has to recognize the commands, right? You learned some stuff doing a book, huh? Killer Instinct Gold, 3.5 stars. That's a good review. That was by Daniel Greenberg, who's actually going to be here this weekend, and he actually helped edit as well. He was one of our editors. Mario Party 2, we got there. One thing I learned doing the book is that North American artwork stunk compared to the Japanese artwork. The Japanese artwork, I know it's smaller, you can't see it as well here, was almost always superior to what we received. I'll probably have a few more examples in here you can see. Mischief Makers, that's an example of it. The Japanese version is better. Any Mischief Maker fans out there? That's usually regarded as one of those, I don't want to say hidden gems, but one of like the higher regarded third-party Well, it wasn't third party in North America. NBA Hang Time. I love this game. I reviewed this. I gave this 5 stars. This is an outstanding game. And this was the end of the trilogy of Midway NBA Jam games with Jam Tournament. Then you had Hang Time. They lost the naming rights to Acclaim, who put out their own games, which were not as good. There. Nushi-Shuri 64. It's a Japanese fishing game. There's the Shuriken 64 controller. Pokemon Stadium 2. I don't know if you can see it blowing up, the little glitter effect on the cartridge. The only cards that have the glitter on it. The Japanese cards, for some reason, they were not into colored game cartridges. For some reason, I guess they didn't realize they needed it or didn't do it. So there's no Japanese colored cartridges on the N64. They're all gray. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. That was excellent in the arcade. Ever played in the arcade with the 2 throttles? Anyone out there? Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Renamed skateboarding in the EU. Turok Dinosaur Hunter. That was like, for a lot of people, their first-person shooter experience. If they didn't have a console, like they got Turok. That was a big one I remember with my friends and my cousins while watching everyone play that because that was only single player. WWF No Mercy, regarded as one of the best wrestling games of all time, even today. People out there are like, yes, yes. This was reviewed by Dale Coulis. And Dale was great because big wrestling fan and big fan of wrestling games, and he reviewed every single wrestling game himself to keep it consistent with one reviewer for that. And there's about, 16, 17 wrestling games that came out between North America and Japan. And he did a great job, absolute outstanding job. Here's a part of the article about the 64 GD and RANet. There's also hardware articles, information that I haven't even shared yet that's going to be in the book. I want to dribble out the information here and there. So this is how you learn about the background of the 64 DD. And here's one of the DD games. Here's Mario Artist Paint Studio right there. Here's the nice mouse that it came with. Anyone here ever used the N64 mouse? Really? Okay. So what's cool about the mouse is that it's just an analog controller with 2 buttons. So you technically can use the mouse with any game that you would want. Derek Alexander did a great video about that years and years back, trying to play some games. So technically, if it's a game that requires only 2 buttons and uses the control stick, the analog, you could use the mouse. Here's an example of an article. This is from Audi Sorley, who now works with Limited Run Games. The history of N64 wrestling games. Audi actually wrote an entire book that we talked about on the podcast years back that talked about every single wrestling game ever on any platform computer going back to the originals in like the early 80s up until whenever the book came out, 2021 or so. So check out that book. But he did a nice article about the N64 wrestling games. Speaking of Daniel Greenberg, he wrote an article about N64 technology to learn about how that came about. There's a whole section of unreleased N64 games. That's pretty cool. There's a section of not for resale cartridges. Every once in a while you'll find them for sale. And these were promos that were given out to retailers. And there's some differences between these and the final releases, which are noted if there are. I think there's 3 or 4 pages of this in the book. And there's the cover. So that's the book for the most part. I mean, that's a small sample. Yeah, give it up for 4 years of tedious, difficult work right there. And a lot of people ask, what's next? If I'm going to do a GameCube or Game Boy, and I'm going to do a new edition of the NES book, because it's been out of print now for several months, since December. And I want to redo that one, redo some of the writing, clean it up a little bit, maybe add a new bonus section. So if you haven't gotten the NES book yet, or if you got one 8 years ago and it's falling apart or you lost it, maybe you want the new one. So there you go. So that's what's going on with my life. There's going to be a new Flea Market Madness video coming out in a few weeks. All right. I filmed it with Frank. Give it up for Frank. He's the real star. That'll come out in July. Are we almost in July? Is a year and a half over? What happened to this year? Did something happen with the pandemic where time has been warped? Like, it's so weird. So I'm going to work on that. I'll do a new NES Punk video this summer. I haven't done one since the Christmas video that came out in January about Italian pastries and charity fraud, if anyone's seen that. We could play it, but we're fine. We can do something else here. And what else is happening? I have another long-term project that I cannot talk about that you'll hear about next year. If that excites you at all, I'm being as vague as possible. You can guess what it is. And that's what I got going on right now. So, yeah, if you have any questions, you want to ask about anything, or tell me how awful my hair looks or whatever else, you can do that. It doesn't look bad, right? I just got it cut a few days ago. You want to raise your hand if you want to ask something? Yeah. Yeah, so the question is for the Nintendo World Championships video, the AVGN video that I did with James back in 2011 that came out. Wow, 13 years ago. How do we go about it? How do we schedule it? All that. Well, I had an opportunity kind of dropped on my lap to buy the gold cartridge. And one of the first things I did is I texted James and was like, hey, if I have a chance to get the gold cartridge, would you want to do a video with this? And he said, absolutely. Like, we have to think of an idea. So I bought the cartridge. I actually got the cartridge in 2000, was it late 2010 I got the cartridge? We filmed it around, I want to say it was around Easter 2011 we filmed it. And I booked a flight. This is before I think TooManyGames existed. So booked a flight. We wrote the script together. We went back and forth on drafts, and if we like this or that, it came together, and I went out there, and we filmed it. And then he edited it, and it came out, and people like it, right? You like that episode? Thank you. And then we showed it off at PAX West. Back then it was PAX Prime, 2011. And it was like my first time being at an AVGN panel like that, where there was like 800 people in the audience, maybe 1,000. It was gigantic. And they showed the video, and to this day, I will never forget, James and I were both surprised at the reaction of smashing the cartridges with the hammer. It's probably online. The entire crowd was in horror. You can hear their reaction of that. We were like, wow, they really bought this, that we were destroying the real games. And I still get to this day people thinking we destroyed the real games, and I think about how insane it would have been to destroy games that are now combination worth $400,000 or $500,000. Like, it would be nuts. It would have been fun, right? But no, we made sure that we quadruple checked that we were destroying the fake ones that look good. You can't tell how quick it is. We did a good job. I made the gold one, and James made the gray one. And the gold one was from Legend of Zelda. That's easier. And the gray was Top Gun. So he made the gray, I made the gold. And I actually printed it out the same way they kind of did back then. I just printed it out off my bubble jet printer, and I glued it on with glue, as the nerd would say. Elmer's glue. So that's how that came about. Next question? Yes. What made the N64 book such a challenge? There was a combination of factors. The console wasn't nearly as popular as the other two consoles, so to find writers that were even interested, that could give it a fair shake without saying, oh, this is dated or it hasn't aged well. You wanted to find someone with an open mind, but also knew enough of the games in order to give it a fair shake. That was the first part. The second part is capturing the screenshots. So the emulation on the N64, it's gotten better as we did the book, but years and years ago, it was not in the shape it was in terms of the games. The way the games play, usually 99% of the time is fine. It's how the games look. So we did not want to capture screenshots that did not look how the N64 was. But thankfully, plugins were developed, but you needed like a high-intensive GPU in order to get it to function right, in order to get proper screenshots that look like the real one. Some screenshots were captured with real hardware here and there, but in order to get a whole team to do that while playing the game between 20 different writers would have been impossible to do that. So while they played, they would capture screenshots. So that was another one. Another tough aspect was finding specialty reviewers. There's a lot of racing games, for example, on the N64, and these are not easy to play. These are racing games that like require you to really learn how to be like a rally racing driver or like F1, and you can't just like toss it at people who don't know how to play those games. They'll give it a bad review because they don't know how to play it. So there was a combination of factors like that really made it more difficult. And I think a lot of people, it takes them, I guess it's harder for them to go from 2D to 3D to get into that mindset, if that makes sense, or to transfer their reviewing mindset from 2D to 3D. It's a totally different type of game, doing a 2D versus 3D game. And some of those games are a lot longer. So, like for example, let me give you an example of like I did on the NES, like Super Sprint. You know, I could play and review that game in a couple hours. Play through it, review it. Now I got to play Carmageddon 64. And that game, to beat that, took me like 8 hours to do that. And now, it was, I think, a lot more draining on some people playing some of these games than the 2D games. So there's a lot of different things. Other stuff, too, I won't get into, but that's part of it. A lot more hands went up. How about, we'll start with the NES hat. My best swap meet find for gaming or anything? I think I talked about in the podcast once. I found a military-grade infrared scope for like $5. The person thought it was like someone I think clearing out storage units. They had a ton of stuff, and it was like next to like flashlights and like little hunting knives and things like that. And I pick it up and I look at it and I'm like, I think this is some infrared thing. I'm not an expert. Then I start walking away and I was like, and I went back because it wasn't a binoculars. It was like a binocular thing, you know? And then I got it for like $10. I look it up and it was worth like $1,000. And I still own it. It's cool. I have to get it repaired. Sometimes it's like blurry on the focus, but it's cool. Yeah, you go into pitch black room, you turn it on and you can see. It's amazing. That was the coolest thing I ever found. Front row. My top 5 that I reviewed, or just that anyone sort of reviewed? Okay, so I only reviewed 22 or 23 games. Only, that's still like over 5% of the library. Believe it or not, I enjoyed Disney DDR Museum. And I'm not a DDR fan. I imported the MAT controller, which is optional, and I used the MAT controller and I played it. And I enjoyed it. I gave it a positive review. And I'm not a DDR guy. I was going to say it's goofy, but Goofy's in the game. I didn't mean it like that. It's charming. It's very charming. I did that one. I really enjoyed, obviously, NBA Hang Time is a classic. Now you're going to put me on the spot. Now I got to remember the ones I did. Paperboy 64 I reviewed, because I reviewed the other Paperboy games on the other 2 consoles. I really enjoyed the effort of Paperboy 64. It's not a great game. It's not bad, but they put a lot of heart into it, a lot of humor. Anyone here ever played Paperboy 64? Like 2 people. That's why I'm doing the book. You can learn about it. So you know, like they do like all the little comedic newspaper things before the stages. Some are really clever. Like there's some humor in that game, and the controls aren't bad, right? It's not bad, right? So that was another one that I was like, this is pretty fun. I thought it would just be like a throwaway game, but it was pretty fun. There's like an alien invasion angle in it and stuff. There's Bigfoot in the game. There's some weird things happening. There's like haunted stages and streets. All right, next question. Standing up by the pole. So now, okay, the question is, if I had bought the television IP in the game library like Atari just did, what would I do with it? And now, unfortunately, my life is always going to be linked to Tommy Tallarico. Someone here gave me, I swear, gave me a printout from some magazine of Tommy showing off his house in some magazine from 15, 20 years ago. And they laminated it and gave it to me. Now I'm like, I'm serious. Okay, so what would I have done? Well, Atari already announced we're going to talk about it in the next podcast, they're going to do basically an expansion of the Atari 50 collection with some of the M Network television games that were Atari on it. So like they're going to do some of that, so because they purchased some of those. I can picture Atari doing an Intellivision collection like Atari 50. I can picture that, and that's what I would have done. There's not a lot else you can do. There's not a lot of IPs in there you can mine to create new and exciting games. There's probably like 3 or 4. We've already kind of seen like the new Astro Smash on the Amico, and it's not good looking. The new Shark, which I reviewed. Anyone see the Shark review? Pat the NES Punk? That's it, huh? Man, I put on a shark suit and everything. And that's what I get. I did a whole parody of Quint's Jaws speech in that video. It was brilliant. No, I'm kidding. Check it out sometime. It came out, I think, in the fall last year. So, yeah, that's about what I would probably do. I probably would do what Atari's going to probably do with it. Like, there's not much else you could do. Now I'm curious how much it sold for, because if it was a certain amount, I would have said, screw it. I would have bought it just to troll Tommy. I would have been like, well, if it's $150,000, I can look under the couch cushions and find some spare change. No. All right, next question. Yes. The last time I filmed at the flea market was 2 weeks ago with Frank. That's going to be the new episode 49. It's going to come out sometime in July. And it was I found more than I thought I'd find. I'll put it that way. Nothing like, no $10 infrared that's worth $1,000, but I found some stuff. Yeah, in the end, with the little, yeah. My earliest gaming memory, I have a couple from probably 80, I'm going to age myself, 83, 84. I'm so old. I remember going over to my cousins and playing a 2600. That was a big one. I remember seeing Pitfall. I remember watching them play Adventure over and over again. And I remember playing Spider-Man a little bit. Shout out to Atari Spider-Man. That was really fun. The sound of that web, well, I'll, when I'm dead, I'll still remember that somehow. Anyone here know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Can't do it properly. That's why, by the way, that's one of my favorite AVGN episodes. I always tell James, Spider-Man was one of my favorite episodes going back then. It was just fun. And then I also remember playing, we had a Pong clone called the Telstar Ranger, which I then ended up buying, which ate like 4D batteries. Like, we had the AC adapter, which they never included in those back then. You had to mail away and buy them and spend extra. They always were like C or D batteries that would maybe last an hour. So those are my earliest memories back then. Before, pre-NES. God, that's even before I remember the arcade. Yes. That's you. Glasses. Am I a natural collector? Oh, yeah. I always collected stuff. So I started off collecting, every kid had baseball cards in the 80s and hockey cards, but I would collected comics. I was say I was probably a big comic collector more than anything, and going and try to find those at, you know, a lot more comic shops in the 80s and 90s before they all closed down. And then the big thing where I really started going to flea markets, but I didn't find too many of them, even in the mid-90s. You could not find a lot of them for some reason. I started collecting Star Wars, vintage Star Wars figures and toys, but you couldn't find them. I guess Star Wars toys were always coveted, even back then, even 30 years ago, but they were still, and they're always worth something, not what they're worth now, but even the average figure was not worth less. Like G.I. Joe figures were not worth anything back then. He-Man figures were not worth anything until the past 10 or so years. Ninja Turtle figures were still being sold. But Star Wars toys were always coveted. I went to toy shows, and those were fun. There used to be one in Totowa, New Jersey. They'd have it every other month or so, and that was fun. I bought a Tauntaun there, and I bought a Wampa, and I'd find stuff here or there. So I had a pretty good vintage Star Wars toy collection. Then I sold it when I moved out of my parents' place in my 20s, and then started collecting. Well, I was collecting video games in between there as well. And yeah, so I've always been, collecting things here and there. No Pogs, though. No Pogs. Yes, in the hat. Absolutely. So the question, great question. So the question is, do the book reviews for the N64 mention the transfer pack and what features it does? We made sure that we described, even in a small way, what the transfer packs did for those games and what games they were compatible with for the Game Boy games. Okay, so what's funny about that, there's a guy, you're not the guy who goes to every convention and does that. There's a guy that goes to every convention and tries to take pictures. But yeah, I love a Game Boy camera picture. You're the guy that does that. Okay, but there's a guy that used to do that, and I used to keep it in my wallet, but it faded over several years, the picture. You put card sleeves? All right, come by later to my booth. I love a new Game Boy camera photo. I think I got one with Ian one time. Me and Ian did a podcast panel here several years ago out in the open, and someone took one of both of us. I had to find where it is. Shout out Game Boy camera. That was great. Yes. So Tommy Tallarico question, number 2 or 3. So the question is about, he did a show Judgment Day. Was that the one on Canada or the one on here? On G4? I can honestly say I really never heard of Tommy Tallarico before he appeared in the video game years. Remember he appeared on some of the early episodes? And even then I'm like, oh, he's a game composer? I knew nothing about him or his history. Nothing. And then the Amico happened, and then I learned way too much about him. That's what happened. So yeah, I never saw the show. Question in the back. So the question is about, I guess, retro game prices, the market, if we're going to return to pre-pandemic. I think it depends on the console. In my opinion, I think the 8 and 16-bit games will slide back down to where they were before. They were sliding down before the pandemic for a few years. I think that's going to happen again. I think it already is happening. Not that you're going to see dollar NES games again, but I'm seeing marked down common NES games like, all the same price again. Like, oh, these are all $3 each or $5 each just to get rid of them. I'm starting to, he's shaking his head. I think that's going to be a thing that's going to happen again. And then obviously, whatever was 20 years ago is what's hot. Now, for some reason, 360 is the new hotness. I guess because they're shutting down the store, the online store. So I think that's only part of the reason why. I think they're trying to build a new market up because the other ones are going to start to fade away. But yeah, maybe there's some 360 collectors out there that want to buy a bunch of the old stuff, and now they're all in their 20s and 30s and have a disposable income. So I think that's how it's going to be for a lot of it. It's going to be that 20-year cycle, and then 15 years later, the prices will go down on that because they get old and retire and don't care anymore. So that's going to happen to NES games. It will. Yes. I think you said about the Roblox, the lawsuit. Okay, yeah. I mean, he tried to strong-arm Roblox. Tommy Tallarico question number 4, by the way, I think. Yeah, he tried to strong-arm Roblox, and that was not going to work. He did not, I think, own... you can't copyright sounds that are that short to begin with, and he tried to claim that he could, and that was not going to work out for him. Yeah, it was not going to work out. If he was in the right, he would have sued them and won, and it was all posturing. Yep. Yeah, Heritage Auctions, they do auctions almost every week or two now on retro games. I didn't look, but I did see a VGA 85 Mario 64 go for $10,000, and that's not quite like the 9.8 grade. It's a little bit below. That'd be like a 95, but I think they're still afraid to auction off they're not even auctioning off any real 9.6 Mario 64s, because I think they realized the price would be so low even to a few years ago that they're just deathly afraid. But no, I get the mailers and stuff. I see what's coming up for auction. They're not trying to do Famicom games. They're trying to do PC games more. There's not many people interested in this stuff. All right, do 3 or 4 more questions, then we'll do the Play the Punk challenge for prizes. Oh, the person recording me is asking a question. Should I look at you or the camera? What should I look at? So if you just picked up an NES, what are a handful of games to get? If you had $150. If only there was a certain book. If only someone slaved away for 3 years to do a book about NES games. If you have $150, so we're talking about games in the $10, $20 game range or less. It's like when you go on Twitter and you see like build your team, like your sports team with tiers of $5, $3, $2. All right, God, you got to get Ninja Gaiden, you got to get Legend of Zelda, you got to get Super Mario, Duck Hunt, 1, 2, and 3, Castlevania. Come on, you're killing me. Rad Racer, Excitebike, Kung Fu. You got, what is that? I'm up to $60, $70 already. Did I say Contra? What is that? $25, $30? Is that one? Was that 110? How many more dollars do I have? What's that? DuckTales. What is that? $25 game? I don't know what prices are nowadays. That Rygar. There you go. It's like probably a $5, $10 game. What's that? Mega Man 2. Now we're over budget. Mega Man 2. We're over budget. I'm not the biggest Mega Man fan, but yeah, get a Mega Man. Not the one with which one's Sheep Man in? Are they running out of characters? Is that 5 or 6? That's 9? Okay, I don't even know. They're just ridiculous. Now I'm going to go off on a Mega Man rant. The comments online are going to be bad. I don't like Mega Man. Sorry. All right, did I answer your question? Go get like Tecmo Bowl for a sports game, or ice hockey, or Blades of Steel. You know the answer. RC Param's fine. That's a fine one. Yeah. I was terrible as a child at RC Param. I was terrible. All right, one more question? Good one? 2 more questions. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. So the question is, what if you want to get into YouTube and social media, how do you do it? I mean, it depends what your goal is on YouTube. Like, do you want to just have fun? Do you want to make I hate to say career because it's so hard. It's like you have to luck into making a career or just try for 5, 6, 7, 8 years in order to get anywhere. So it's sort of tough. I guess it's like, well, what's your goal? Is it to have fun? Is it to be professional? You want to spend money on a professional equipment? Like, it's kind of tough to answer that in this sort of modern sort of age. But I guess be yourself and try to do something no one else has done, but everyone's done everything, or do it in a unique way that stands out. I guess that's what I would say when it comes to that. Getting too close to the companies. What do you mean getting too close? Like criticizing? Oh, I mean, it depends. Like you can review a company, just make sure that you do a journalistic job and push back on any BS you hear, and don't just swallow whatever someone's selling. That was a problem with almost, not everyone, but 99% of the people that interviewed Tommy Tallarico, reference number 5, is that no one called them out on ridiculous claims. They're all starstruck by the guy. So that's my advice. One last question. I'll get you to as well. Do I play a lot of video games with Frank? And Frank is not. See, here's the thing. Frank actually played some of them. Like whenever he'll see, like I bring up like Asteroids, go, yeah, I remember playing that. I remember playing Pong. But like, he's not a video game guy. That's not his generation. Like, it's just not it. But like, if he played it, like my 5th anniversary video, he did play Super Mario Brothers for fun, and it was fun. He did better than I thought, I guess. So, one last question. Yes. So the question is like, do I feel I should shift, or do I feel a pull towards, I guess, new retro, which would be PS2 or 360? And that would be, to me, be phony. At least I'm not saying anyone else can't do that. I did have a PS2, but I only had like 5 games for it, and like rented some games. Like I remember playing the Warriors on it because I was so amazed that they made a game about the Warriors, because I thought only I'd seen that film growing up. But no, I don't see myself being drawn to doing new retro stuff. I want to stick with what I know. I think that's what I'm more comfortable with. Like people would see right through that. Oh, no, Pat's doing 360. The top 10 360 games to buy, hidden gems. No, I'm not. I don't see myself doing that. All right. You want to do the Play the Punk challenge? Come on. Yeah. Make it seem like there's 200 people on here for the online stream. So be a couple of you folks. We can switch to the game, the dual split screen. A couple of you will compete against each other. Player 1, player 2, you'll come up on stage, and I will pick a game challenge. And then if you win or lose, if you lose, I'll give you like a nice little sticker as a party gift. If you win, I can give you a nice Pat pin, enamel pin. Or if you want, I'll give you a download code, digital download code for a certain Super Nintendo guidebook. So what do you say? You want to play? Yeah, why not? We only live once. And I used to play against people, but honestly, I was too good. I lost like once a year. I'm not even kidding. So now it's more fun if I commentate. So who has not asked a question yet that would want to participate? We do that. I'm just curious. All right, you, and then you're the only person. Why don't you come on up? Pick a side, any side. Oh, this side. No, that side. Other side. Other side. Okay, only one side. Is it a liability thing? Okay. Go in front here, out in the front where the NES is. Okay. What are your names?
Martin.
Martin?
Andrew.
Give it up for Martin and Andrew. Can I see the controller? I'm going to pick a game for you to play. You're going to want to look at the screen to play because there's lag on that TV. I'm serious. You're going to want to look at the screen. So how about we do a good old challenge? What's a good one? How about balloon fight? The first to lose all their lives loses at balloon fight. How about that? Does that sound good? I think it's good. Again, it was Martin and
Andrew.
Martin and Andrew. Okay. So whenever you're ready, Martin is going to be player one. Andrew. So hit start and then hit start again and we'll go. All right. Martin is red balloons. Andrew's in blue balloons. I'm going to try to commentate the best I can. You remember, you want to go above the other person. You don't know how to play. Perfect. All right. You want to knock the balloons off. The other player, like just like that. You want to attack the other player as well, because that's how we're doing the challenge here. So Martin has the red balloons there. Oh, Andrew's down to one balloon for the first player. Oh, one balloon each. Let's see what's happening here. Oh, the lightning bolt almost got him. Somehow they avoided each other. Bouncing around. Watch out for the lightning bolt. Oh! So Andrew's first life is gone. I think he's down to 2 lives left. All right, second level. Oh, there goes Martin's first life. This is one of my favorite black box games. You would love that. Oh, the fish got him! The fish got Martin. I should have warned you about that, but I wanted to see that happen. I knew it was going to happen. All right, so Martin's down to his last life. Oh, Andrew's got to try to take him out. Oh, last balloon for Martin. Oh! So who? Oh, so Andrew's the winner. Good job, Andrew. Here's a digital download code for the book. You move the controller up here. And then you want a Danny Sullivan sticker? Give it up for Martin and Andrew. All right. That sounds really annoying. I have to reset that. Sorry. Oh my God, that's really bad. It's like an 8-bit basketball game on the court. All right, I'll power that back on. Who's next? Who wants to play the punk? Oh, play the punk challenge. In the back with the AVGN shirt. Who else? Who has not asked a question yet? We'll get to those folks first, to be fair. Up front, come on, with the TooManyGames shirt. Come on up. Come on up. And what's your name?
Mike.
Mike?
Brandon.
Give it up for Mike and Brandon here. Mike will be player 1, Brandon will be player 2. We're going to do Karate Champ. Any experience with Karate Champ, either of you? No? A little shaky? All right, Mike, Brandon, hit start when you're ready, Mike. All right, here we go. Mike in the white gi, Brandon in the reddish. On the nice cliffs there. Oh, kick to the gut from Mike. That's a point. All right. Oh, a high kick to the face from Mike there, Brandon. So in the arcade, this had 2 joysticks per player, and it actually kind of made sense using it down. Oh, nice sweep. Oh, man. I believe in you, Brandon. You can come back here. And yeah, and the NES, it's a much harder translation. It's actually not terrible if you read the manual, but it's not simple to learn this, as you can see. Oh, this is one of the earliest fighting games. This was 1984, I believe. Oh, there's a counter from Brandon. All right. Oh, I think Mike is close to a victory here. Do a jump kick. Oh, he did a jump kick. Wow. I think he's a ringer. I think he knows how to play. Wow. I don't know how that happened. Okay. That wasn't. Oh, he's turned around. Turned back around. Oh, another jump kick almost hit him. Throw a punch. Oh. Yeah, you have to. Oh. Judgment. White. And that's the winner there. Mike's the winner. Mike, you get a download code. Brandon, you can get a sticker of your choice. You want a Frank or Pat sticker? Get a Frank. Oh, there you go. Nice, good enough for Mike and Brandon there. All right, power that back on. This is an old school retro USB flash card, way before EverDrive. All right, we got time for a couple more, actually. Who wants to play? Who's not played yet? You, come on up. Come on up. Yeah, come on up. Yeah. He's so happy to come up. It was like, all right. He was super happy. What's a good one here that we can play here? What's one that I haven't done in a while? Rockin' Ball. Come on over here. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Chris Taliaferro from beautiful Maple Shade, New Jersey.
All right, give it up for Chris. It's very happy. And
I'm Kathy from Ottawa, Canada.
did you say Kat? Kathy. Chris and Kathy, give it up. Okay, all right. We're gonna play. Let's see. You're gonna be first player, so that.
Okay, no, for sure.
So we'll keep that one. I'm getting confused. We're gonna keep that one over here for Kathy. You can grab that one now, and I'm gonna pick out the game here. How about Dr. Mario? We'll do a Dr. Mario competition.
I suck at Dr. Mario, but that's cool.
Oh, okay. All right, Chris. Chris sucks at Dr. Mario. So Kathy might have a better time. So we'll do 2-player game. We'll up the virus level. If you up it to 5 on there if you want. There we go. Yeah, we'll make it a little harder. We'll do medium speed. All right, and press start whenever you're ready. Chris versus Kathy. All right, here we go. I should have picked an easier one. Let's see if either, this could be really quick or really slow. We'll see what happens. All right, who's off to a good start here? It's like Kathy's cleared a virus so far. Okay. All right, sorry. It's catchy. Remember, you have to get 4 in a row, and if you do combos, you can move viruses to the other side. Okay? It's like Kathy's ahead a little bit here. Oh, a little snafu there. Chris working on the reds. Wish there was a Dr. Mario World Championship like they have with Tetris. That'd be fun. You know, I hosted the first Nintendo World Classic Championship. A little known fact no one cares about. I'm not even trying to brag. It's just a little trivia. All right. Uh-oh. Kathy's in trouble on the right. Chris is hanging in there. I should have probably did a lower number of viruses here. Oh man, this might be first to 2 victories, not 3, because we don't have a lot of time left. I believe in you, Kathy. You can turn this. Okay, I don't believe in you, Kathy. I thought I believed. All right, next round. We'll do 2 out of 3. First to 2 out of 3, not 3. All right. See, Chris, you did okay. You were worried. Chris believes in himself. It's all about believing in yourself while playing an NES game that's, 33 years old or so. 34? All right, let's see what Kathy's going for the blue down there. All right. I was disappointed that this was not included on the new Nintendo World Championships on Switch. I mean, they own the rights to this entirely, unlike Tetris. Like, why wouldn't you put your own puzzle game on? It didn't make any sense to me. But, well, I don't work for Nintendo, fortunately. All right, Kathy, how are we doing over there? We getting the hang of it? Sort of? All right. Oh no, Kathy, oh no! Oh no! you can get out of this, maybe. Oh no, that's it. Chris wins. Kathy.
Good game.
All right, Chris, you want a download code for the Super Nintendo book? Kathy, you want an enamel pin or you want? Okay, thank you so much. We got time for one more. All right, thanks so much. He's excited. I'd be excited too if I just won fabulous prizes. All right, with the hair ribbon. And then one more. Who has not asked a question yet? It'll be easier here. On the end. Come on up. Come on up. Come on up. How we doing? What's your name? Come over here. You'll be player one. What's your name?
Claire.
Claire. Nice to meet you, Claire. And then I will reset this. Dressed up as Kiki. All right. Josh. Give it up for Claire and Josh. And we all know what the final Play the Punk challenge is going to be, right? We know what we're doing here. That's Claire is really raring to go. You want to host? You can. I'll play them. All right, we're going to go to the Play the Punk folder, and we're going to do what I like to call the Abobo Deathmatch Challenge. Which is in alphabetical order. There we go. Have either of you heard of the Abobo Deathmatch Challenge before? Claire or Josh? No? Oh, this is going to be so good. Did you know Double Dragon on the NES did not have a two-player mode for the regular game, which is why it's not a 5-star game or even 4.5, but it had a Mode B one-on-one mode. Did you know that, Claire? Did you know that, Josh? It does. You're about to find out. Okay, Claire and Josh, whenever you're ready, hit the A button to begin. Look on the screen up there. Look over there, because there's no lag on there. On Abobo. Go on Abobo. There you go. And get ready. This is the Abobo Deathmatch Challenge, the world-famous challenge. I made this world-famous. That's right. All right. Claire's on the left in blue. Josh is in his lovely violet shorts. Oh, Claire out of the gate with a punch combo. Josh fighting back. Nice kick by Claire. Oh, missing the hand clap, both of them. There's also running attacks. That's a pro tip. Oh, missing the running punch. Oh, nice defense by Claire. Oh, nice hand clap combo there. Oh, you can go up and down as well. Just let you know, it's 2 dimensions here in the Abobo Deathmatch Challenge. They decided not to try to go around each other. This is the first time I've ever seen this happen. To be honest, there's no strategy involved here. They're playing it like in Street Fighter 2. I've never seen this before, but they don't want to work in 2 dimensions. That's fine. There you go. Oh, ooh, nice shoulder tackle, but you missed it. That's an advanced move from Claire. Claire's down to a 1 life bar, and Josh has 2 left, kind of, because we have 0. Oh, coming back. Oh, nice. Oh, that's it. Josh wins. Claire, you gave it a fair shake. Josh, you win a download code of the book. And Claire, you want a sticker with my big hair? All right, give it up for Claire and Josh. That's the Abobo Deathmatch Challenge. Have a great weekend.